burned myself on my coffee mug. Well, it's day one here at the Bassmaster Open. I really haven't recorded much during practice as far as like videos explaining what's going on, but I've been having kind of a tough time this week. I've been trying to see as much of the lake as possible. I've been driving around, using my 2D sonar to locate clumps of grass, locate bait fish, quite a few different things to try to get bit, and really not to get bit, just to try to find areas of the lake where there were fish. So I wasn't fishing a ton until I saw fish or bait on my graph, and then I would get up and fish a little bit, see if I could get a bite, see, you know, try to check the size of some of the fish. A lot of times when I found fish, I was catching small fish, like 2-pounders and even a lot of really little ones. But every now and then I would catch a really good one, like around 4 pounds or a little over, or I'd lose a big one, you know, see it and know that it was over 4 pounds. So I've got a few of those areas that I've had 4-pound bites. I'm just not sure how many there really are in those areas because I haven't spent enough time milling around to try to extract what's there. You know, this is kind of like Florida fishing here. You get in a good area and you fish around and you really see what you got on tournament day. So we're gonna go out there with a positive attitude and just hope that it works out. I feel okay. I feel like I'm gonna for sure get a limit today. That should be a given here at St. Clair, but I'm not making any guarantees on anything. It's a little shaky right now, so we'll see where I feel after this tournament day's over. I'm boat number 17, so we got an early flight. I'm sitting here stuck in line. There's a bunch of traffic. Not ideal right now. I hate this crap morning takeoff stuff, but we'll get out there one way or another and we'll catch what we can catch and see what we bring in. So thanks for following along. See you soon. That's how you know you're on heavily pressured body of water, when you catch a fish and there's a line sticking out of its throat, something down in its gullet. Let's cut the excess line off. Alright, St. Clair, well, it's really only a 3-pounder. This is a dink, but the previous one was a 4-pounder, and there's fish just everywhere. I'm seeing them floating off the bottom, you know, 3-4 foot off the bottom. And if you can get a bait on them, they'll go down on it. I'm still working on the presentation, trying to figure out the exact best way to fish these fish. You know, some of them want it above their heads, and some of them will follow it down and eat it off the bottom. But overall, I'm feeling a lot better. Yesterday it sucked. It's still early today. It's what is it? Just after 8 o'clock a.m. and we finally found an area. I feel like if all else fails, I can come to this zone and put the trolling motor down and just cover water. There's a lot of fish here, so it's cool. Finally feel comfortable out here. So, not that I was uncomfortable, I just was not catching them, not having a good day yesterday. So now that I'm looking at a lot of fish in front of me, I feel a lot better. This whole fucking lake, there's not a soul around. Can't see land hardly. This guy drives 30 feet from me. I'm sitting here watching Bassmaster live, having some truck thoughts, and it's crazy how, to me, like, throughout the week in practice, I felt like I was struggling. You know, I spent a lot of my time on 2D, driving 30-40 miles an hour, just looking for, like, isolated grass clumps. What I figured out on the main lake was they didn't want to be in areas that were choked out grass. They would be in areas that had grass surrounded by cleared out bottom. So you were either looking for a good edge of the grass or just an area that was like sparse grass. I found a couple big schools of fish out in the lake, but on the strike KZ2, baby. Foot pounder. Oh yeah. Oh, that was badass. Okay, we can do this. We can catch them at this tournament. But I never saw any of those 5-pound class fish, or even a 4.5. Like I never caught a 4.5 pounder out in the lake in practice. And I was seeing all these guys on social media catching those 4.5 to 5-pound fish sporadically throughout their practice days. I'm like, man, what am I missing? You know? And now it all just makes sense. It's because those guys were dedicating a large majority of their practice in Anchor Bay, and Anchor Bay was the only place on the lake this week that actually had 4.5 to 5-pound fish. The rest of the lake, I caught fish out in the lake that were huge fish, like 21, 22-inch fish, but they didn't even weigh 4 pounds because they were so thin. I mean, I had a place in Canada up in 10 foot of water that was just polluted with fish. I mean, I could have sat there and caught 60 fish a day if I fished my whole tournament over there. But the biggest fish I could catch out of that school, barely 4 pounders. And, you know, that's why I dedicated my time in Anchor Bay during the tournament. But I just wish I got on the Anchor Bay program sooner, rather than figuring it out late day one, that's where I needed to be. But now it all makes sense why some guys in practice were whacking big ones and the rest of the guys in practice were shaking their heads super confused. And that was me. I was one of those guys that was super confused. Like, how are you catching 23 pounds on this lake when, like, the biggest fish I can catch is like a 4? Like, and I looked at the BFL results from a week ago before this tournament. Like, yeah, there's a couple 24-pound bags, but the rest of the field, I mean, like 18 pounds was a pretty good bag in that BFL. I think 18 pounds got a check. I know it did. So to me, I felt like 20 pounds was going to be really catching them at this tournament. And it just turns out that Anchor Bay, it was not hard to get 20 pounds in Anchor Bay if you had those little micro spots identified. So a lot of lessons being learned today. I like it, but I also hate it at the same time. Another little concentration pass. Found them on 2D running 30 miles an hour. I started seeing dots. Like, I better pull over. What does she weigh? It's probably 280. Oh no, 3.25. Okay. Gets us up to 16 pounds. That would have. We'd have over 17 had I not lost a 4-pounder earlier today, but how she goes. That custom light's got some good drag on it. Blues did a nice job coming out with that reel. I really like it. The 300 size. It's spooled up with 15-pound Strike King 2 grade braid to a 10-pound leader, fluorocarbon. It's getting the job done. Baby Z2 is doing the work. Oh, come here, little buddy. Gotcha. Not a big one, but a keeper. We caught a lot of keepers today, so that's encouraging. I mean, the last few days I've been really concerned because I've been catching a lot of really little ones, and now I feel comfortable that I can catch a decent limit in this tournament. I have not seen the 20-pound potential by any means, but you know, we've had pretty close to 18 pounds on the line today. I lost 2 4s, so that doesn't help, but I got 16 pounds legit on the scale that I caught. And we're putting some pieces together, so feeling good, a lot happier today than I've been.
Up. Cade Loffenberg. Hadn't called that name out in a long time across the stage. You get to see Cade. Come on up. Starting out with 5. A good day?
Yeah, it was my best day that I've been here so far this week. Kind of a tough practice, but I had a lot of fun today.
Grab him real quick. 19 pounds, 6 ounces, up to 6th place for Cade Loffenberg. Oh, boy. This is going to be a... This leaderboard stacking up. Right here, Cade, in the middle. There you go. All the way to 6th place out of Wisconsin. He's eyeing the final one, but he's okay right here at the first one. Nice job, Cade. We'll see where you end up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just going to try to keep getting better every day. Want to say a shout-out to my girlfriend, Alyssa, back home. I know she's watching, my parents, too. So love you guys, and I'll see you in a few days.
Thanks, Cade. See you in the morning. We'll see where you end up.
Good morning. It is day 2 of the Bassmaster Open at Lake St. Clair. Day 1 went really well for me. I mean, for my standards of what I caught in practice this week, I was not feeling like I was in tune with the fish. Yesterday I had a really good day, made really good decisions for what I was on, and managed to catch 19 pounds 6 ounces, which felt really good. I felt like I was going to be in it. I figured I would probably be like in the top 40, honestly. It was kind of my thoughts. I figured there'd be like 20 bags around 20 pounds, and then, you know, maybe another handful in the 19 3/4 pound range, and then I'd be somewhere falling in there in the 30s or whatever. But that is not the case. I'm in 83rd place out of 220 something. So it's not that I'm in a bad spot. You know, you're in well within the top half of the field, but it is crazy how good they've caught them here. Almost 28 pounds of smallmouth is leading the tournament. Like, just ridiculous. Like, so many levels. We're gonna go out there today and just have fun and do our best. And the good news is, for me, even though we're 43 places back of the check range, we're only a pound or 2 realistically away from that. So that's really just one big bite. I'm going to go out there today and try to catch 22 to 23 pounds, which, you know, that's a tall task considering I haven't even broke the 20-pound mark this week. But I did figure out a few things yesterday. Found an area where the fish are a lot thicker. They're weighing heavy. Fish that I was catching in the morning that weighed 380 were longer than the fish I was catching in the afternoon that weighed over 4. So I'm going to just go out there, start on the area where the thicker fish are, and hope for the best. See what we can come up with. I think, you know, either way, we're gonna catch a good bag of smallmouth today, and it's gonna be a blast on St. Clair. World-class smallmouth fishery, and it's finally showing up for me and everybody else, obviously. But I feel like it was fishing tough this week in practice, and it seems like it's showing its true colors now. So I'm just excited to get back out there and go fishing again. So gonna try to film a little bit today during the tournament, something I've not done yet. So hopefully it works out. We'll see how it goes. If it's bothering my co-angler that the Yolotech's in the way or something, I'll take it down. I don't want to be a hindrance to him, but hopefully we can have some cool fish catches on there, and we'll give an update after the weigh-in. Later. around this like 100-yard zone. I mean, I can trade with you.
Wanted to let you know I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. I met your kid at Winona State back in the day, yeah. Yeah, I was the fishing club president. He came to our table at a club fair. He said, "You guys know my dad?" And we're like, "Who's your dad?" He told us who you were. I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah! Hell yeah, dude! You got to join the fishing club." He's like, "No, I don't fish."
Yeah, I know. I get him in the boat about once a year, maybe.
We were like, "This is gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a pros kid in our club," and that was funny.
That's a fish. How big it is. That's a keeper. Yeah.
Carol Bass. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come to that.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got to run right off the sand drop. As big as I thought it was. Should have fought like a giant one.
Yeah.
Skinny. This is only like a 2.5. Probably just wasting my time even fishing over here. 14 pounds. Fall every time. Now I know I can go back to Anchor Bay and just do this all day.
Yeah.
See, this one's like fucking 20 inches long. It doesn't weigh shit.
Yeah.
Look at how long that fucker is.
Yeah.
That's a 5-pounder in 2 weeks. Right?
There it is. He actually may be the one you literally just threw back. Heck yeah.
If he was fat, he would have been like a fucking 6-pounder, dude. Look at how long he is.
Yeah.
There you go, GoPro. That's a 22-inch bass. Probably not that one, but it's over 20. I was just fucking with him. I kept fucking with him. And then finally he came back and ate it almost right under the trolling motor. It's not even a 4. Really?
for Cade Laufenberg on day number 1. Step on up. Remember Cade back from the college days. All right, we got 5 to add to it. Better than 19.6?
Nope, definitely not. It was a fun day out there. Learned a lot this week, but I'm excited to get home.
18.2 for you today, Cade. Good seeing you. 2-day total of 37.8, and I'll see you in Minnesota.
Well, guys, that's a wrap on the St. Clair Bassmaster Open at Lake St. Clair. I am driving home. I made it on the good side of Chicago, so the worst is behind me. Traffic wasn't all that bad going through this morning, so I'm thankful for that. And just want to get into a little bit of kind of what I did this week. Probably have a more detailed video about my techniques and setups and lures and rods and reels that I used coming after this video. But this video that you just watched is really just kind of showing the highlights of my tournament, talk a little bit about my strategy, and then we'll do a breakdown next week about how I got those fish. So really, I can't say I'm disappointed in my performance at this tournament, but man, took a real beating. The field absolutely crushed them. I'm watching Bassmaster Live right now on my way home, and it's incredible to see the kind of fish that these guys are pulling out of Anchor Bay. I fished in Anchor Bay a little bit. I caught my biggest fish all week in Anchor Bay, so I knew that better quality fish were in there. I just didn't fish enough of it to like really break it down and figure out where these groups of fish are. If you go into Anchor Bay and spend some time milling around, there's a lot of dead water is what I came to realize. And if you found a fish and caught a fish, there was a lot more fish in that area, but you had to kind of mill around in a small zone to catch those fish. And I think that's kind of the key. That's what these guys are doing. They found little 100-yard sections that had a bunch of fish, and you get outside of those sections and you can feel like there's no fish in Anchor Bay. I did have one of those sections. I caught a 4 3/4 in practice, and on day 1 of the tournament, I came over from the Canadian side. I'd been fishing in Canada quite a bit. I had about 18 pounds in the live well, which I knew wasn't going to be a top bag, but you know, I didn't expect these guys to catch them that good. So I felt like with 18 pounds, I was kind of giving myself a chance to be in the hunt. And I come over to Anchor Bay towards the end of the day, went to that same waypoint where I caught a 476 in practice, and started looking at my live scope, and the fish were just dotted up, you know. They're dotted up everywhere in that little area. I managed to catch a 4 1/4 and a couple other high 3s to call up from 18 pounds to what I weighed in, which was 19 pounds 6 ounces. Thought I was going to be sitting in a decent spot. I was in a decent spot on the leaderboard when I weighed in, which, you know, I weighed in early, but even after a half an hour, 45 minutes, I was still up there pretty decent. Then as the rest of the field kept coming in, I just kept falling and falling and falling, and, you know, started the tournament in the 80s or 90s. I can't even remember. And then day 2, I made the decision that I was going to start in Anchor Bay because I had that good flurry in the afternoon. I knew that the fish were heavier in there and they were bigger, so I figured I'm going to start in Anchor Bay. And you know, when I was over in Anchor Bay on day 1, the boat traffic, I felt like there was quite a few boats in there, but it wasn't like insane, you know. I think a lot of the guys had already like done their damage and got out of there or whatever by the time I went. But when I started day 2 in Anchor Bay, it was apparent like the whole field was in there. And I'm driving up the bay going to my little zone, and it's like you see a lot of guys that had big bags on day 1, and I'm like, man, it's all going down right here. And that just kind of solidified my feeling that, like, dude, I just need to stay in Anchor Bay all day and hopefully catch a 23, 24 pound bag like some of these guys are catching. And, you know, it just didn't work out. Like I said, I didn't spend enough time in Anchor Bay in practice. Didn't find those key zones. I started on my zone from day 1, caught a couple, but it was clearly not the deal. There was a few other boats that started in that same section too, and after about an hour, everybody kind of dispersed. So I started kind of moving around, just looking for fish. found a couple zones, but ultimately I just couldn't get it done. Finished the day with 18 pounds 2 ounces, and once again, you know, came in, looked at the leaderboard, and a lot of guys that I saw that day had 22, 23 pounds, 24 pounds even. And it's just like, man, it just goes to show there's two factors I believe in these guys doing way better than me despite fishing a lot of the same areas. One, they found those key zones like I talked about. You know, it's one thing to be in the area, you know, you're in the area, you're in the ballpark, but you're not right down on the field on the baseball diamond. Those guys are on the baseball diamond. I was just in the ballpark. That's the best way to put it. The other way that I think that they were outperforming me in there was these guys are some of the best in the world, especially with live scope these days. They know how to convert every fish they see into a fish that's in the boat. And me, I was only able to catch about half the fish that I saw. If I could land my bait right on one's nose, and I figured out a couple key baits, and I'll talk about those in another video, but if I could get it right on their nose, I could land them. But the problem was for me, a lot of times I would see a fish, I had my scope set, you know, 100 feet, I'm looking way out, even 110 feet a lot of times. So I'd see that fish way out there, I'd get in position, I'd start creeping up, and I was trying to get that fish about 60 to 70 feet from the boat before I'd throw at it. And my casting wasn't terribly inaccurate, but I can't stress enough how important it was to literally get it right on their head. And if you were a couple feet off, it became a lot harder to get that fish to commit to your bait. The other thing was understanding which direction these fish are moving, or if they're stationary, which way they're facing. You know, if you land your cast, it looks like you're landing it on their head, but in reality, you're landing it on their tail. Like that's not the deal. You're not going to get bit. These guys that have been doing this a lot longer than me, that really worked on it, they know exactly which way that fish is facing. They know exactly where to put their bait, and they are snipers with their accuracy. That's all it is, man. Their bite conversion ratio was a lot better than mine. I know I had 5-pound fish look at my bait this week. I saw huge blobs that would race over, look at my bait, and then turn away. And if I just made a better presentation, you know, when you made the right presentation, those fish usually ate the bait before it ever got down to the bottom. They'd come up and eat it while it was falling. And you know, unfortunately for me, I just didn't convert enough of the fish that I saw to contend for a check in this tournament. But overall, I'm really happy with just how much learning I did. Also, like the practice that I had, I felt that there was a chance that I was going to come in with 13 or 14 pounds, to be honest. Like, I saw some 4-pound fish in practice, but I caught a hell of a lot more 2.5 pounders out in the lake. And so, you know, to weigh in 37 pounds 8 ounces over 2 days, I felt like I exceeded what I was on in practice. And so in that aspect, I have to be a little bit happy about how I adjusted and got better as the week went on. You know, I didn't find the winning deal, I didn't find the check cashing deal, but overall I became a lot better fisherman this week, and I can hang my hat on that. I think the next time I have to come to Lake St. Clair for a big tournament, I'm going to have a lot more knowledge and insight to what I need to do, the baits I need to throw, and the way I need to approach the tournament mindset on this body of water. So looking forward to the next one at Leach Lake. Never been there before. I may or may not go up there before the cutoff and just check it out. I'm not sure yet, but I'm looking forward to getting home and getting back out on the Mississippi River, seeing friends and family, getting back to work. Overall, I'm happy, content, and I'm ready to get on to the next one with some good insight gained. So that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this video.